of the paper. And the story says the finance minister, Mr. Septekwe, is expected to announce some hard-hitting reforms to correct the fiscal imbalances in the economy when he presents the 2015 budget statement to Parliament today. The imbalances are caused by high expenditure management, largely caused by spending on wages, salaries and allowances, as well as goods and services, including debt servicing and investment in capital expenditure. The government is therefore expected to introduce some fiscal measures, including tax raise on some products and additional levies on some commodities and services. It is also expected to raise some levies on petroleum products and introduce a new accounting software to plug the areas of revenue leakage. All right, so I'll go straight to the Deputy Minority Leader of Parliament. How are you going to tag this Parliament today? The last time we had a TRIA budget. So this time, what are we expecting? I'm hearing something around Ebola budget. Is that it?
Wow. I'm surprised that people would expect us to tag the budget.
You always do.
I'm not very sure that it will happen. Circumstances demanded most times that we should tag the budget. I believe that it's very clear to the people of Ghana that there have been difficulties over the last 2 years. But it hasn't happened, 12 of them. I don't think they've been able to do it. But I think they need to bite the bullet, particularly if we have to go through the IMF conditionalities. They really have to bite the bullet. They really have to stop thinking about the next election and do the right thing.
You think they are concentrating on the next election?
I tell you, my dear.
Honorable, is that right?
No.
You've got your minds on 2016 election rather than the economic targets that you wanted to meet in the 2014 budget?
He knows very well that if we were to be concentrating on the 2016 election, obviously the overruns will have been more than this, because as he and I are here, he will attest to the fact that the common fund, only the first quarter has been processed, even though we are in the fourth quarter. And you know, I mean, district assemblies and what have you will only be able to do infrastructure when they have their common fund. Yet, because of the difficulties and we're trying to restrain ourselves and discipline ourselves, we are not able to really push. What are some of the measures that has brought us where we are? Look, we all keep saying that, oh, government overspending, government over borrowing. Let's just take them one after the other. In 2012, where we had the biggest overrun, go and check. And I challenge anybody who listening to us. The overrun was only in one area, which is wage. Capital investment never overrun. It never went over its budget. You can check, the figures are there. One of the major things was the deficit, what do you call it, the wage bill. Unfortunately for us, just as we have overrun the budget on wage and then entering into 2013, we were faced with a very big real challenge. Ghana, our main export commodity, that gives us the biggest amount, are the cocoa and gold. They started nosediving. Once they start nosediving and you have a very big deficit to cover, your deficit keeps widening. Over the last, 1 year, just go and check how much has been paid by way of salary arrears. Over 3 billion had to be paid. And these are commitments. You heard yesterday in Côte d'Ivoire, soldiers were in mutiny, saying that they've not been paid over some months. We don't want such a thing to happen. We are talking about borrowing. My dear sister, look, all of us who are listening, just check your neighborhood, check around you, look at the constructions and other things that are going on. In 2012, we decided as a country to do massive infrastructure. And my colleague is here, he will attest to the fact, they came to Parliament in the budget, that every district was supposed to have about 20 kilometers of road constructed. 20 times 216, multiply that and see, over 4,000 kilometers had to be constructed. You've awarded the contract, you have to pay for them. Other than that, you cannot do anything. We decided that we wanted to take children out of the schools under the trees. What happened? We need to construct these blocks. Go around and see, many of them have been done. As you and I are talking, over 1,600 of such blocks have been completed. As we are talking, water, in the urban center alone, our need in Accra, our need is about 153 million gallons of water every day. What do we have? We were just having about 90. We needed to do something. So we needed to expand the pump. So we need to go for loan. We don't have the money to be able to do that. As we are now talking, even the completion
So you're justifying the borrowing?
The completion date that was supposed to be 2015 is brought to 2014. And those of us who are living in and around Adenta and Asadote will begin seeing that even as we speak now, my house that has never had water for several years has started getting water every 2 weeks, meaning that by the close of this year, we are going to have this thing done. He was talking about energy. He knows most of the loans that we had to take to do T3. He knows the loan that we had to take, the CDB loan, and all the noise. If we had not insisted to take the CDB loan, believe me, the Etuabo gas that all of us are about to celebrate wouldn't have happened. And look, my sister, when Etuabo finally ramps up, and in the next 2-3 weeks, it's going to ramp up. When it ramps up, the gas from that alone is going to be able to give us 500 megawatts of power.
But it won't be the end of our woes, will it?
But believe me, it is going to give us 70% of our requirement, which would mean that this doomsday that is of all of us concerned is going to reduce drastically. I wouldn't sit here and say that it is going to end completely. But you should know, why are we still having the overrun? He will attest to the fact, this year, go and ask the ministries, ask government agencies. Many of them have not been able to get their budget. We are holding on to us. But the challenge is that once you are having all these challenges, you are not releasing, yet your GDP is not growing because the incomes are not coming in. Businesses are suffering because of the doomsday. They are not able to pay the taxes. Definitely, you've had a budget saying that you should spend 1 cedi, and your revenue was to get 1 cedi, 50 pesos. You use 50 pesos to pay your debt, and then use the 1 cedi to run. Now, people who are supposed to pay the taxes, because of the doomsday and other things, they are not able to pay the taxes for you to raise the 1 million to 1 cedi. Definitely, there will be deficit, and that is the cause of why we are still saying seeing that challenge. But believe me, into the future, there are a lot of prospects. Why am I saying this? The market has spoken. Last year, when we came during budget and we were talking about Eurobond, everybody said that, oh, we are never going to be able to even get that below 10%. We had it a little over 8%. Cocoa Board went and syndicated. They got almost 1.8 billion. DMPC went, for loan. They got over 700 million US dollars. It means that, yes, when you are closer to something, you don't really see it properly. It's not like when you bring your hand very close to your eye. You don't really see what is on your hand until you give it some little gap. Those who are far away are seeing the prospects in this country, knowing very well that
so within 2014, how come people in the country are not seeing these prospects? No, because we are feeling the day-to-day. But someone who is outside is seeing that, look, you may have a challenge today, but look at the way it's going. They look at all the oil potential, they look at all the gas potential, they know that the gas is going to be able to help us to deal with the electricity problem. They see ourselves by latest 2016 ending, all these issues are going to go back. So they have confidence and are investing in us. For us, that tells us that the market has a lot of confidence in us. One of the major challenges that we are having, he knows, Ghana is a third world country. We are battling and struggling to make ends meet, but we have a lot of donors that are supposed to support us. And the donors still have confidence. Are not releasing, they are not going to withhold. The donors are not releasing their commitment. About 700 million. And that further exacerbates our situation. Why are they not releasing? Well, that they've lost confidence? It's not about losing confidence. If you have, with a greater respect, a party that has lost election and decided to go and litigate for 8 months, knowing what Africa is, where the so you blame the New Patriotic Party? A coup d'etat and other things. When people see this, and then every day you have the opposition. Patriotic Party for donors withholding grants and loans to you? Ask them. Yes, you are responsible. Look, you remember sometime this year they organized a demonstration in London. They did organize a demonstration in New York. How many people outside this country know that, oh, when you see 100 people on the street of London demonstrating, that doesn't represent the 25 million Ghanaians? How many people? So I'm saying that our action and inaction, all of us, opposition included, it makes the situation more difficult, because if someone is supposed to give you grant, someone is supposed to give you free money, and he's seeing today one person is saying this, the next day the other person is saying that, and all of it point to the fact that nothing is happening. You don't believe that the challenges have been exacerbated because of the excessive spending? And I'm telling you that, where is the excessive spending? And I'm saying that, look, I challenge everybody, go check the heaviest place that we had overrun was wage. The capital, you know, usually when it is election, people government, and we've seen it over the past few elections that we've held, it is infrastructure that people put the money into. But in our case, in 2012, it was wage.
And I'm saying that this was also legitimate because you've gone into negotiation with the union, you've agreed to make some payment, you need to fulfill it. Now that you've agreed that I'm going to pay you X amount, and then the person was taking Y amount, the difference has to come as, what do you call it, outstanding bills. And I'm saying that this year alone, over the last 12 months alone, we have to pay over 3 billion.
Okay.
And when you do that, and then your income, because of the light-offs and other things, industries are not able to pay the necessary targets tax, you see that we miss our target in terms of revenue.
Okay.
Obviously, you have this
Let me go to Honorable Nitiwo. Apparently, this $700 million from our donors is not coming because of your activity. So you are to blame, you are responsible. Do you totally agree with your colleague here?
Does he believe himself? He himself, does he believe what he says? That donors are withholding money because of the activities of the opposition. You are insulting your own government and the donors. I don't think you should repeat that statement anywhere. Please. Donors are objective people who assess you as a government and decide to honor their commitment or not to honor their commitment. But let me tell you something. No donor just wakes up and gives you taxpayers' money for the sake of giving you money. They give you conditions. If you meet the conditions, you get the money. If you don't meet the conditions, you don't get the money. It's as simple as that. It has nothing to do with the opposition, and he knows that it has nothing to do with what the opposition does. In fact, Ghana opposition is one of the most responsible oppositions that we have had. Trust me. Burkina does not have half of the conditions we have today. And their people, they put 1 million people on the streets. Okay? You have an opposition that is very responsible. Respect us for that. I beg you. If you don't, you may find, you as a chief whip of the government, you may find yourself having difficulty. You are the chief whip. You are with us here. Do we give you the sort of problems that a real opposition who is irresponsible should give you? Otherwise, you will not be able to manage this house. You know that. People throw chairs in many parliaments. People are always demonstrating in many parliaments. They don't even sit with you, but you also know that 98% of what we do in parliament is by consensus. You think if we are irresponsible, we'll be able to do that? I disagree with that. But even more shocking is the fact that he wants to put the blame on wage bill on what happened in 2012. Please, please, please. I'm a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, and I can tell you that is not true at all. The wage the overruns in the budget, what we call budget deficit, was 8.5 billion Ghana cedi in 2012. The overruns, that's what we thought that we'd be able to spend, say, 15 billion, and we ended up spending 24.5 billion or 23.5 billion. We spent close to 8.5 billion Ghana cedi. Of this 8.5 billion Ghana cedi, only 2.9 billion was on wage. Are you getting the figures? Of the 8.5 billion, only 2.9 billion was on wage. So please, I beg you. And the finance minister came to parliament in 2013 to justify it on fuel subsidy, on this and that. But I'm just saying that doesn't wash with anybody. The roads he's talking about, there was none constructed in my constituency, in my district or constituency.
Not even one.
No tar road, nothing. Honorable. No contract was awarded. Look, the adjoining constituencies, let me mention them: Bimbila, Yendi, Salaga, Wulensi, Pandai, Nkwanta North, Nkwanta South. No, not Nkwanta
Not even
South.
A single road.
Not Nkwanta South. Karachi, not a single of the third road that he says that they awarded was awarded in those constituencies. In my area, the same thing with the water. The water he's talking about, there was not a single water project that you carried out. Not in Willensi, and they're listening to me, not in Nyon. The MPs are listening to me, you can ask them. So I'm just saying that maybe you did it elsewhere. But in any case, who asks you to spend what you don't have? My dear, you don't have the money.
But it's a necessity, isn't it?
What necessity? In election year? That's for elections. It's very clear to everybody that was for it. Why are you not doing it now? It's for elections.
And they constructing more roads. And they're working on more roads.
Listen, if you overrun your budget by 8.5 billion in an election year, it's purely to buy the votes, nothing else.
Is it?
You see,
is it as simple as that?
You see, I just wanted us to concentrate on...
Would you know this because you did that in electioneering years as well, when you were in power?
But unfortunately, let's go back and look at the elections. 2004, when MPP wanted a re-election, it was 2.2%. When we exiting in 2008, it was 6.5%. In 2012, this guy was 12.9%.
Did you construct roads in electioneering years? to win votes.
It's normal. It's not to win votes. It's normal to construct votes. And it's normal. Look, you'll be
So
deceiving
it was
yourself.
okay for them to construct the votes?
You'll be deceiving yourself to say that in an election, your government will not at least increase a little bit what they usually do. They will always do that. But then you overdo it, and today we are all suffering the pain. Just take the
So you did it. What you're saying is that you did it, but in moderation, and they overdid it.
I say it's been done almost everywhere.
Okay.
I'll be lying to myself and to the people of Ghana if I say that MPP it didn't happen. Okay. I mean, we are human beings. We are a political party. We want to win an election. It will happen, but then the amount of money that you sink in, and the difficulties that you give this country is what happens. Look, in 2004. When I was a candidate by then, when the party was on the neck of the then president, said, look, I don't want to spoil the country just because I want to win an election. That's how come that the deficit was 2.2%. But you can compare 2.2% to 12.9%. Or even you cannot even compare what they call gargantuan spending and reckless spending in 2008. That's the term they used. 6.9% to 12.9%. You can't compare that. There's a 6 percentage gap difference. But I just thought that I should concentrate more on the budget today and say that, look, why are you and me still buying fuel at 15 cedis? You, Mutaka, why are you and me still buying fuel at 15 cedis? The time that fuel was selling at the world market per gallon, per barrel was 150 Ghana dollars per barrel. The government, through the MPA, increased fuel to 15 Ghana cedi. At that time, the argument was that the cedi was falling and it was close to 4 cedis per $1. It was 3.89 or something to $1. Today, the cedi has appreciated to the extent that the cedi is now 3 cedis or 3.15 to $1. And the price on the world market has fallen from the $150 per barrel to about $75 per barrel. Why are
and we've seen a reduction, 2%.
What, 2%? That's an insult. Because on the world market, there's an average reduction of 30%, and you give us 2%. That's a huge insult to the people of this country.
Honorable
Seriously.
Mustafa, is that an insult?
No, I'm very surprised at my colleague, who happens to also be a member of the Finance Committee, speaking this way. I want him to look into the cameras and tell them that he's saying that for the past 4 years, since 2012, he is sitting here saying to the people of Bimbila that nothing, he doesn't see any drain being done in his constituency. Nothing is happening in his constituency. Is that why he's saying? I'm saying that.
I think you mentioned two specific.
You mentioned water and quiet.
You mentioned two specific
when you were speaking, I was quiet.
Thank you.
And I thought that you'll be there.
You asked me to mention to the camera.
No, I'm saying when it gets to 10. That's why I kept quiet when you were saying. Not because what you were saying, I believe in them. Because I wanted us to have a very meaningful discussion. My sister, when you are bundling figures, you need to know there are two of them. Budget Council tell you that I expect to raise 10 cedis.
Well,
and then the 10 cedis that I expect to raise, I'm going to use 2 cedis to do this, 1 cedi to do that, 3 cedis to do that, and on and on and on. If you go ahead to award contracts, because you are anticipating that you are going to have, because that is the budget cycle, you need to tell the 10 cedis what you are going to use it for. So because you anticipate that you are going to make that 10 cedis, you go ahead to award contract A, B, C, water, education, housing, energy, what have you. And 1, you don't make the revenue. Remember that you already committed yourself with a contractor who might have started and will have to be paid. That is 1. 2, if you don't, you do these estimations based on a donor inflow, and then the donor inflow doesn't come, and you've already awarded a contract, you still have to pay. Like you see, I mean, the what do you call it, Tetakwashi to Medina, you see the Suhum. I mean, when you go to Kumasi, you have the Sofo line. Many of them across the country, the Eastern Corridor, most of the
What's happening to the Nsawam Road?
Most of the roads, these are the challenges. I anticipate that I'm going to get this amount of money from this person. Now the person has started. The GOG component, I have advanced it. I'm now no more getting the counterpart funding that I was going to get, say, from a donor agency. I will have to still continue carrying on the project because the contractor has started. So you will definitely be having this overrun. And then it also doesn't also happen that because in 2012, you've not been able to achieve this, your target, and therefore you've awarded this contract. you will say that because I've not achieved it, I'm not going to carry on paying. You will definitely have to pay. Let's come back to this fuel issue that he was talking about. He is a member of the finance committee, and he knew very well, as the prices were going up, there's a point government says that yes, I've agreed that we should have automatic adjustment. But where it has reached, if I have to continue allowing to go, I'm going to have problem with the seasoning. Let me hold it, whilst we hope that the indicators are going to change. So you have a situation where we were having multiple challenges. One of them was that the prices were going up. Our city was depreciating. So the losses or the challenge you are having is not only the price of the product going up in dollars, but you're also having that the city, which you and I use to pay at the filling stations, is also falling. Meaning that if you were using 10 cedis to fill your tank, now because the cedi was falling against the dollar, you now have to use 15 cedis. Aside also the price itself going up. So when government held it, and now fortunately for us, it's coming down. You need two things. You need to settle two things if you want to clear your books, and you have to be disciplined. One, the losses that at the point that government said that no, we are not going to increase it because the price is getting beyond what we think our people can bear. You need to fix that deficit. Also the forest loss, that's how they call it, because the cedi and the dollar, how they were playing, you need to also settle that one. So all we are saying is that this is a serious concern to all of us. We are all mindful about it. Assurance is that this deficit that has accumulated over the period will have to be sorted out. Other than that, we'll have to find a way of paying for it in one way or the other, either through the budget or through other means. And we are saying that in preparing ourselves to be disciplined, this is the way to go. So that, for example, when I mean, with the greater respect was of the view that the 2% reduction, for me, was not necessary because it didn't have any. Necessary? For me, yes. Why am I saying that? It's either going to, if we have to do reduction when we are sure that it is going to lead to reduction in total fares, it's going to lead to reduction in the cost of commodities. That's why it is relevant. But when you do it this way, it's like you are only, what do you call it, throwing that 2% to people that will not benefit the ordinary citizen. Because if you had done it, it was going to affect the ordinary citizen, yes. But it was not going to affect anybody. But if you put the 2% together, it's huge sums of money that we could use to make some intervention. So for me,
that the 2%
what he, as a member of the finance committee, should be doing is that, look, can you come and tell us how much has accumulated? How much are you making out of this fall? So that we will know when it's going to end. That is when I will know. He's talking about responsibility. I want to correct him. He's saying that 98% of the time we agree. It's not true. They said that we did say 84%. It wasn't 98. And secondly, he's saying that they don't give us a headache. My sister, CDB, you were in this country. You saw what they did. And I just started an example.
Well, he said they are very responsible.
If we hadn't insisted and move ahead with the CDB to get a trouble gas, our situation of the Dumso, we will not know when it will have ended. But we were courageous.
But do you find them a responsible opposition?
I wouldn't say they are irresponsible, but I would say that most of the things sometimes they do are very, very unnecessary, and it's hiking the temperature in the country unnecessarily. And I thought that there could be, and he was also saying about what is happening, what happened in Burkina Faso. Half of it didn't happen here. I challenged him. That's not true. When someone has been sitting on for 27 years, could you imagine if he's saying, let me show him what he could equate with that. If former President Rawlings has insisted to remain in power up to today, that's when you can compare what was happening to Burkina Faso and what is happening.
So you can't compare.
You can't compare. And you can never compare. The situations are completely different. We are a very peaceful country. We are all sitting here talking about what we think is happening freely. You couldn't do that in Burkina Faso. The media would dare not do half of the things that is happening here. The day for yesterday, we saw some of the irresponsible, what do you call it, media outrage about the lady that was arrested being related to the first family. Ask him whether this could have been done in Burkina Faso. So you shouldn't compare those issues. It's true, some parliament are more reckless, and I must thank all of us. We were in opposition, they were in government. We were all very, we do accommodate each other to some extent. But I can tell you that most of the things that are happening in our country today, the prospects are brighter. the future is much brighter. We need to be more hopeful in our own country than the others who are outside and are being hopeful in our country.
Okay, let's move on to another thing.
But he asked me to look into the camera and tell him, or you don't want me to look into
go ahead. Tell us.
Let me tell the people
some of the developments that have come to your constituency.
No, two things. He asked for two things. Third road that end water intervention from government. I still look into the camera and I say no. But the worst thing, let me tell you, the worst thing that has happened to this country is them going for the CDB loan. But that's what he's touting as an achievement. You know what? So far, we have paid close to 200 million to the Chinese, even though we haven't assessed the full quantum of the loan on charges. You think this money could not have been used to start the Tuabo? In fact, the amount of oil resources that has come to this country through the budget is 2.2 billion US dollars. You think that could not have been used in building the Tuabo, which cost us just about 1 billion? Secondly, you have then gone to reduce it from the 3 billion to the 1.5 billion. So were we right or were we wrong? Why have the Chinese not released that money? Thirdly, I'm really surprised the way he's going about it. What we told you is that dedicate oil resources to specific projects, so that tomorrow you and Nigeria can say, this is what we use our oil resources for, this is what we use our oil resources for. The 2.2 billion as we see today, what have you done with it? Can you point out what you have done with it? Apart from the trouble, which is a loan. In any case, I'll give you two examples two things that happened in my constituency. One is the Canadians gave us 30 million Canadian dollars to construct water in some two communities. It started in 2004. It was completed, I think, this year. It was opened this year. In terms of water, that's what happened.
So it wasn't them.
I'm coming. 5 communities. So that's why I didn't say it is to the credit of the MPP or NDC, because it started for the MPP time, it's ended in the NDC time. That is the Canadian. I thank them and I thank the people of Ghana for pooling resources to do that. Then 5 communities had electricity. He and me know that loan was approved in 2010. What $110 million to do 550 communities.
So no credit to them at all?
I am not talking about credit to them. He's telling me that I should name what has happened, and I'm telling you what has happened. And I'm saying that central government didn't put any resource there. But that is for him to continue to argue. What I'm saying is that for the fuel reduction, it is an insult for government to come and tell the people that they owe us. Because in July, when they came with the mid-year review budget, they asked for 600 million Ghana cedi to pay the excess resources that they are now saying that they want to use us to pay. They asked for it. Because it's a subsidy. Subsidy is not being paid by me. You cannot claim that you have subsidized me and turn around and say that I should pay that subsidy. Then what is the subsidy in that? Meanwhile, in the budget, you budgeted just this July 600 million Ghana cedi to pay the subsidy. And you turn around and say there is a subsidy and me and you should pay. Government has agreed that they are overcharging us for fuel, but we should pay for what subsidy? You asked for 600 million. Parliament gave you that 600 million. You haven't come to tell us that you were not able to pay the subsidy. So why are you not charging the consumer to pay because there is a debt? What debt? This is the first time I'm hearing a government, if you are not even in government, you are a chief whip. Government has not told the people of Ghana there is a subsidy. It's the MPA that came to tell us. MPA has no business speaking for government. We have put them as an independent body unless they have now agreed that they are the spokesperson for government. Then we can say yes, they are the spokesperson for government. But government has not come to tell us anything. The Minister of Energy hasn't told us. The President hasn't told us. The Chief of Staff hasn't told us. The spokesperson for no government has come to tell us there's a debt and so we should pay. It's just MPA that said, when I raised the issue, they said they won't reduce because there's a debt. Do we owe MPA? You and me, the consumer, do we owe the MPA? We don't. Fuel has reduced by 30%. We are saying 2% reduction is an insult because it never led to the reduction in anything. And I agree with him. No transport fares were reduced. Nothing was reduced. We are still paying virtually the same thing. We are saying government should reduce because it is a subsidy. We give them a budget to pay for that subsidy and they have no business.
So you want a further reduction?
Absolutely no bit. And that is the point the opposition may make today. Not the budget, not the Ebola thing you are talking about.
Okay, your reaction to that briefly, and then we can talk about inflation.
The very surprising thing is that he said that there was a Canadian loan. He talked about some loan that was taken in 2010. That is part of what is being repaid. And they keep hammering as if the loans that we've been taking, with a greater respect, are just shared. The loan comes and then we just sit, or government sit, and then with its cronies and share the money. He has just acknowledged that some monies were used for electricity in his constituency, and that's what we are repaying. The one from the Canadian government is what we are repaying. So when he sees repayment of loan so huge in our budget, he should remember part of it is coming from his constituency. Secondly, he was talking about something which surprises me, because this is a member of the finance committee. This is a senior member of this house. He was in this house when we did the petroleum, what do you call it, the petroleum, what do you call it, bill, where we decided revenue management, where we agreed on what to do with the monies. Ask him, is he not a member of parliament where we all agree that there should be annual budget funding amount from the oil revenue? Can he sit here and say that over the years since we approved that act, such an amount has not been paid? Was it not here when we all agreed that some of the money should be going to be put into a future fund? Is that money not being put there? If he sits here and creates the impression that even without a Chinese CDB, we could have done a trouble by simply restricting all the money from the oil to do that, he will be the first to be saying that we are flouting the act that has been done by this house. So we use the money that we anticipate that we're going to have to take the CDB, and I'm saying that if for nothing, the CDB has yielded a trouble, and at least they should acknowledge that that's a credit that is going to help us to solve the short and to medium term energy challenges that we are having. Let me say, they'll be right to say that MPA should not be speaking for government, but MPA is a government institution. It's 100% owned by Ghana. And if you give someone a budget, like he himself will admit, if you come and say that, oh, can you give me a leverage of 600 million to go and do ABCD? It doesn't mean that the money is sitting there, so you just go, the day Parliament approves, you go and collect the 600 million. Raising the revenue could also be a challenge. So when a time has come where there's an easier and softer way of trying to resolve the issue, you don't say that, no. We should still go the hardest way, and at the end of the day, you come and look at our books and say that, look at how reckless you've been. Even after all this, look at the amount of money that you are still using to subsidize when the fuel prices are going down. It's a concern to all of us. We all anticipate that in today's budget, we will see clearly the measures that are going to be used to take us out of this doom. And I can say that with the few things that I've heard from the finance minister, you can be rest assured, latest by December, this light-off will reduce substantially. And I mean substantially. Okay. It's going to go down.
Okay. We all hope to see that substantial reduction in the power crisis we're experiencing at the moment. One thing the finance minister will also be talking about will be inflation, currently hovering around a 4-year all-time high of 15.9. We expect that by the first quarter of 2015, that's what we have been told, that it will hover around 9.5%. Is this achievable as far as you're concerned?
I think that if the finance minister is telling us what he has to do, it may not be achievable, because the IMF is projecting that the only time we may achieve single digit inflation might be 2017, 2018, not in the short term that the finance minister is looking at. Because look, trust me, like I said, we are heading to another election. These guys cannot, sorry to use the word these guys, the NDC government cannot control their expenditure. They will not be able to control it. Trust me, it won't happen. If there is anybody out there who thinks that they can control expenditure, that person is just not being realistic. It will not happen. They will not be able, and so they cannot achieve it. If anything, I expect the prime rate to go a little bit higher than the 21%, and I also expect maybe interest rates to even increase the more. I expect inflation to increase the more. Well,
the Bank of Ghana says that it is trying very hard to tame it.
The governor doesn't have the clout to discipline the government.
He doesn't?
He doesn't. The sort of governor that we had in 2012 and we still have today doesn't have that clout. I've always blamed him for all the problems that we're having. Because the law is very clear. You don't overfinance the government. Just because you cannot say no to what the president or the government says. The government says we need more money, then you borrow them. We need more money, you borrow them. That's why we have this problem that we have. If you have a governor of the Bank of Ghana who is very disciplined. I'm not using the word indisciplined as a person, but disciplined in the way he does it, and it's very tough. You won't have the sort of overrides that we are having. You would be able to tell the government, yes, I know you're going to win, and you want to win an election, but that road that was not budgeted for, I will not finance it because I will be spoiling the country. This current governor, I doubt whether he has that clout or whether he has that nerve or that muscle to be able to do that. So I don't see him. When he talks, I don't listen to him.
I mean, when you say you don't listen to him, are you saying that most of the time he's just spewing a lot of...
He's spewing things we don't understand. If you are not a finance person, you don't understand what he's saying. You are talking of percentage points. Who understands that language? Break it down to the ordinary man on the street. Okay? When I go with my CD to buy something on the market, how am I going to survive? That's what we want to hear. Are you able to discipline the government? That's what we want to hear. Are you able to say that, okay, enough is enough? What strategies are you putting in place to be able to ensure that interest rate does not go up? Nigeria has brought that interest rate below 10%.
So you're not seeing any boost in foreign exchange liquidity at all, like the Bank of Ghana has said?
I have my doubts. He may prove me wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm a prophet of doom. He may prove me wrong. But I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think I will give myself the benefit of the doubt, not him at all. I just think that he doesn't sound to me as somebody who we need at this time. We need a tougher, the guy who has a clout, the guy who can look and say, look, I'm an independent guy. The president cannot just sack me. I want to do the right thing. I want to help you win an election, but I'll make you win an election the right way. Not just because you buy your way out. I will not do that. If you don't have a governor who can look into the president's
Have we ever had a governor of that sort?
I don't know. But I think that there were a few governors who were able to do that a little bit. That's why some people were scared when they were bringing Dr. Dufour, because in 2000, he wasn't able to look right in the eyes of the president at that time and say no. But I think that some Akwa and a few others were able to look in the eye of the president and say, look, Mr. President, I know you want to finance your budget. I know that you want to win an election, but I tell you, this is not the best way to go. I think that we cannot accept that. This governor has not been able to do it. I don't trust him a bit. I don't think that he listens to himself. I don't think he listens to what the people of Ghana are talking about, or he feels what we feel. I just think that he's listening more to himself. He's a technocrat. It's not good for us.
So hence, you don't think the 9.5% target for the first quarter of 2015?
It's not feasible. It's not feasible. Just forget about it. It won't happen.
Okay.
Look, you'll be back in the next year budget this time and telling me that it won't happen. Trust me, just look at it.
Well, what I would just say is that these are looking into the future. And for us, we are very hopeful of the future. And I can assure him that if he, as a member of parliament, he has seen how difficult we have been this year in terms of people trying to push for some releases to be made. We insisted, look, we need to be able to discipline ourselves. I can assure him that that discipline is going to continue. Let me just say that our track record as a country, whether in NDC or MPP, over the years in election year, has not been too good. We, in the coming towards, heading towards 2016, we will try and do the very best that we can to change this trend. But let me say, he's not being fair to the governor of Bank of Ghana. Why am I saying so? I mean, he's a member of parliament and he knows very well how we conduct ourselves. When I'm here with you, because I have the opportunity to rebut her, the person is not here. And you are talking more even about his competence to manage what he's doing. Let me say, this is a very respectable person. The person is doing the best that he can. And you are a woman, and for that matter, a mother. I would say that when it becomes difficult in the home, you will not look into the eyes of your children and say that because we must pay this loan, because we have decided that we are going to spend only 10 cedis on food, and the cost of food has gone up, we will not eat today. You won't do that. So you need to be seeing it in that, because when you take the country as a unit home, how you manage a home, that is how you see it. Because, for example, if government have budgeted, I keep saying that, that's most of the time the misunderstanding that people get. When there's overrun, people don't go and look at how did the overrun occur. It could happen from one or two things. It's either you couldn't get the revenue target and therefore you have to still spend, or you've gotten the revenue and yet you are overspending. If you budgeted for something and then you are not able to raise enough revenue and the time has come for it to be paid, you are saying that the government of Ghana should say it should not be paid, even if it means salary, even if it means about paying our loan, what do you call commitment, if it is about peacekeeping, if it's about keeping this country together. Is that what you are saying? I don't think there are any sensible, with the greater respect, any rational person sitting there knowing the facts on the ground. And you should know. He's a senior member of this house. There are a lot of things that he and I know that almost how many? 265 members of parliament don't know, because we are in leadership. Because you are in leadership, you are privy to more information and the challenges that confront the institution. And because you are leading, you don't go raising your hand and say that, hey, the way this thing has, everybody run away. You try to solve the problem. So if you are not there, you don't know under which circumstances that governance after governance, 2000, what do you call it, 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, they operate. So I want to say, someone being in leadership in this country, for that matter, parliament, when you are talking about these things, yes, I agree. You will all want a more disciplined and more, what do you call it, pragmatic system, where when we say we are going to spend A, we'll all try to adhere to it with a discipline. But don't sit and talk about the governor as if with a greater respect, he doesn't even know what he is doing. I think that was very unfair.
The governor lacks clout.
No, that's his personal view, and I think that it's also wrong to say that. What does he? How does he measure it? By using
how do you measure clout?
By MPP members talking about it? No, you don't do that, because with a greater respect, this is a very esteemed office that a gentleman is occupying in our country. You are not there. You don't know the challenges that are there. You may have your views about how certain things might have happened, but don't try to reduce it to the person, saying that he doesn't have clout. You don't think that he has what it takes to look into the face of the president. Do you have what it takes to look into the face of even just your minority leader, even when some things are very difficult in this house, to say, look, minority leader, we either do it this way, or I will take my suit out and rebel against you on our side. There are things that comes to you as a leader, and you weigh the cons and pros. So you have to be fair to the governor. We all expect to have a very disciplined regime. You remember that we were even pushing, all of us, both sides of the house, that can we bring back the act that what do you call regulate Bank of Ghana, so that maybe we can put in more stringent measures so that it become legal, so that it become law, so that it will be difficult for anybody to want to break a law. But to sit here and create the impression as if the gentleman doesn't know what he's doing at any time that he's just doing yes sir, I don't think that would be fair to him.
First of all, I told you that it is not his person. When I began, I told you that it's not his person. I've judged him from his activities in 2012 election, 2013, and now 2014. And I've said that he doesn't have that clout. He is not able to tell the president that, look, Mr. President, I'm sorry, but projects that are not budgeted for, I will not do it. The finance minister...
he gave you an example.
Yes,
in fact, he created an analogy that in the home, people must eat. That's the analogy he gave you.
Unfortunately, when you haven't budgeted for chicken and you don't have money to buy chicken, you don't have to go and steal or borrow to buy chicken because your children are crying. Discipline them.
Okay.
But let me also tell you
when you are budgeted and you know you couldn't raise revenue, and that is a core thing for medicine. You say you won't do it.
Can I also tell you something? Don't give the impression that the minority leader is a dictator. Maybe your side is like that. He's not.
He's not a dictator.
And he knows the way I operate. I tell you right in your face where it's supposed to be. And secondly,
but I know there are many things that you will not be able to say.
When a governor supervises
how do you know that?
budget,
no, he and I we are in leadership together.
When a governor's first test of supervising a budget, and he supervises a budget deficit of 12.9%, the next budget he supervises is 9.8%, and the current budget deficit is running in 10-point-something%, and you tell me that governor has the gut to tell the president that please stop spending. When a finance minister comes to parliament to say we are putting a moratorium on new projects, and the next day the governor is financing new projects, you tell me that I shouldn't tell the governor like that. My brother, if you can't tell the governor, you are in government, I will tell him that he must be able to put a stop to it, otherwise this country will run to a halt.
Okay, let's go to the Ghanaian Times. War on illegal fuel dealers, NPA arrests 3 in Kumasi. There's a picture there of Moses Masaga. He's a CEO of NPA. Labor unions planned demo on Thursday. That's page 15. Bloody clash at Wa. 8 injured, 20 arrested. On the back page of the paper, Stars ready to beat Togo today. Well, hopefully it will be a reality. There's a picture there of Emmanuel Shea Adebayo, the Tottenham player and also captain of the Togolese team. And there's also a picture there of the caretaker coach, Maxwell Kunedu. And remember that Avram Grant will be watching this game, as the GFA boss has said a couple of days ago. And there's a picture there of Asamoah Gyan, our captain, and also Ajimai Bedu. Well, let's go to page 3 of the paper. A very disturbing story there. The NPA yesterday embarked on a 3-day exercise to clamp down on illegal dealers of petrol and other petroleum products in the Kumasi metropolis of the Ashanti region. It formed part of the NPA's resolve to get rid of people peddling in petrol and other products, since such activities are contrary to the act regulating the industry. The exercise, carried out in collaboration with the Ashanti Regional Police Command, covered Atonsu, Dompoase and Kase, all in Kumasi. You want to comment on this briefly?
Yeah, this is a very unfortunate incident. I mean, running the country is not an easy thing, and where you have these kind of challenges, especially that has to do with fuel, is very worrying. And I think that we need to commend NPA for wonderful work done. We hope that they will intensify their effort to make sure that all those involved in illegalities are stopped, because it has a lot of implication on all of us. I mean, it has a lot of implication on our economy and what have you. So I think that they need to do more. They need to be able to not only do them in the big cities, because some of these illegal activities are even happening more towards, I mean, around the border towns. And I hope that this will only be the beginning of many of the things that they'll be doing in terms of oil, illegal trading, illegal fuel dealers. But in the national, I think that we need to commend NPA for.
Honorable Nitiwo.
I think it's a purely criminal matter, and they should quickly put them to court, get the police to arrest them and put them to court. That is if what they are telling us is a true story. And if it is true, we should, like you said, congratulate the NPA for doing that. But I'm surprised that fuel smuggling is still going on, because I am aware that if you go to lift fuel from the fuel depot, the tanker that carries the fuel, they track it. There's a tracking mechanism that they track. Even when the driver stops, the guy monitoring is able to tell that the driver has stopped. Even when you take a gallon off, the driver, the guy monitoring is able to say that you have taken a gallon off. So I'm still confused about the nature of this story, because I haven't read the story. Because I do know that when you pick fuel depot, either from Bupe or from Tema or from Takrady, they are able to monitor you until you discharge, because there's a machine that monitors you, and they're able to monitor you. There is no way that any of the fuel tankers should be able to steal that kind of fuel, and they record you. So I'm so surprised.
You're so confused.
And because when you discharge the fuel into the fuel station, for example, it's no more the property of the NPA, then becomes the property of the gentleman or the owner of the fuel station, whether it's Allied Fuel or it's Goyle or it's Mobile or whatever. It is then becomes the owner, and it's no more the duty of the NPA to do that. So I'm so surprised. But if they are lax in their monitoring system, then they have to monitor what they do, because I know that even private people who cut wires from Tema, to Burkina, to Niger, they have a monitoring system. They track the driver. When the driver stops, they know the driver has stopped in Bolga, and they'll speak to you. We have stopped in Bolga. What's happening? What is the reason? You are picked at something. What is going on? And if they are not doing it, they should immediately start them.
No, let me just add this quickly. I mean, it is important, as you may know, the tracking device is internet-based. And you know that, I mean, sometimes you have this network going off. So
at the source.
At the source. No, not even at the source, within the vehicle. Okay. You know, they are moving. So one of the other things that most of our drivers don't know, that leads to sometimes these illegalities. And when we met NPA one time and they were talking, is that they try to tamper with the gadget.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, you call, oh, I don't know why, or the thing has stopped working. Meanwhile, it's an opportunity for the person to be able to do things at the back I mean, of your
That's a very worrying situation then. The Today newspaper, constitutionality of CRC, Supreme Court to decide. Gas shortage hits Accra, Tema. That's the Today newspaper. We'll go to the Enquirer, which says 2015 budget. Tekpe storms Parliament today. Massive boost for local production, pharmaceuticals, printing and agri sectors high on agenda. More taxes to be scrapped and more government support for SMEs. President extols Nanoye's social protection reform. Ahead of 2016, Potopi urges unity and hard work. In other stories, motorists hail Kaswa interchange project. NACOB investigating Nayele and Metepe's accomplices at the KRA. On the back page, Real Madrid and Juventus do battle for top award, and there's a picture there of Cristiano Ronaldo, who, by the way, is leading a global campaign for the fight against Ebola. Congratulations to him and all other international footballers who have come aboard. I must add that Michael Essien, our own Michael Essien, is also doing one. He calls it United Against Ebola. The Daily Dispatch newspaper, Mahama's new schools, Ashanti region gets 16%. And also there's a feature on land tenure in Ghana. On the back page is the full details of that story on the front page. The Chronicle newspaper says, Interpol chases minister's car and Adekoka seeks vengeance. I don't know which minister's car it is. There's also another one up there. NPP borrowed $5.5 billion in 8 years. NDC 27 billion in 6 years. Hello. Honorable. Is that right?
No, but you see that we've done some of the biggest projects in our country that they have.
Where?
They have done. I mean, go around and look at the kind of roads that we've constructed.
I say where?
Even right in Kumasi, where I am. I mean, if you go and compare, for example, the Asafo interchange as against the Ascot bypass, if you are in Kumasi, which one is longer, which one is bigger? Look at the Sofo line that we inherited from you when you didn't look for any funding, they left it, GOG, and we had to deal with it. And look, the reality in running a country, with the greater respect, it's not child's play. When there are these challenges, you need to borrow to be able to do it. And like you said, there's like this thing, some of the villages in your constituency, which otherwise didn't have. But we have to borrow money to do that.
I'm saying you borrowed money to complete Sofo. Is that what you are saying? And you couldn't borrow money to complete the 30 kilometers in Suhu? Is that what you are saying?
No, I mean, the project is still ongoing.
I think that you must be explaining to the people of Ghana why you use the 2.27 billion for. Because trust me,
he says infrastructure.
No, trust me, some of the biggest, some of the longest roads and some of the biggest roads that we have today in this country were done under the Kufuor administration.
Well, we can debate that. No, we can debate that. But you are a member of the finance, and I thought that you'd be the last to be talking about. You have to explain to Ghanaians when you use
because he has all the details.
All the details pass through you.
I have,
and you know every loan that comes talks about the specific. Sometimes people will insist, go for value for money and come. The person goes for value for money, say, hey, bring the commercial agreement. Hey, why is the price of this boat within the project this much? All these things are details that you have been championing it. So I'm surprised that you are sitting here talking about.
I'm asking you,
you have to explain the 27 billion because every single one of it passed through your committee, and you have the details.
Well, the question he's asking is that you've borrowed 27 billion, but he's not seeing.
And I'm saying that it is surprising because every dollar of it passed through his table and his other colleagues, and he knows.
So you're being mischievous.
He's talking. Why he asks me, then he keeps talking and I cannot talk.
No, is it
but I just wanted to ask.
You see that you don't know the.
Can you give me 1 second? Can you give me 1 second?
Okay.
I'm saying that there is no loan in this country that I don't have details of it. Okay, you can ask Dr. Akoto. I have details of every loan you have picked, the project you are supposed to use for, how much you are supposed to pay. And that's why I'm asking you what you have done with it, because you are very disappointing.
No,
it's not that the money is not there, but your your performance is very disappointing.
No, I'm asking, are you saying that the one that we took for Tamale Phase 2, the Phase 1, has not been completed?
Which
people travel from your Bimbila in the night to go and see the Tamale Hospital. You know that. It's so beautiful that your people travel to go and just see the hospital.
They travel to Tamale to go and see that.
This man is living in dreamland.
No,
this man is living in dreamland.
Are you saying that?
Excuse me. You pick 37 million euro, and you build 2-story buildings, and you want us to clap for you?
Oh, I'm just surprised.
I'm not saying that it's not a good project.
No.
Excuse me. I'm not saying it's not a good project.
Were you not in finance committee?
Can I finish?
No, I'm asking.
Listen to me.
Were you not on finance committee? Didn't you ask for value for money for it? Did you ask for the specific?
I did.
Was it only the building or together with the equipment?
But just as I asked for
and you
value,
know that medical equipment are so expensive.
Excuse me.
And you've been there.
Just as I asked for value for 300
Yes.
million military equipment from Russia, you passed it. Just as we asked for value for money in 3 billion Chinese loan, you passed it. Just as we asked for value for money in SCS, you passed it. Just as we asked for value for money, all the things that the loans that we took and we asked for value, you passed it.
Honorable Little, the hospital he's talking about in Tamale, has it met your...
No, it's a very good project. Look, if it's not a good project,
It's not well equipped.
can I finish? President Kufuor would not even have planted. So once another government even planted and you completed it, it's a very good project. And there's nobody who will say that it's not a good project.
Are you saying that the
Alice,
Pong, the money, the one that you took for the
Can I finish?
water, the what do you call Pong expansion?
Can I finish?
It's not a good project.
You are talking of 27
It's not-
billion.
it's
You are
not
talking
good.
of 12
No,
million
I'm only
dollars.
telling you the bits because it's the bits. 100 million there, 300 million there, 1 million here, 5 million.
Let's
they
make
add up to
progress.
the 27 billion.
The new presiding guard, judge threatens to throw editor in jail. The story is on pages 3 and 4, and it says if he fails to disclose a source, Sempestu rebuts demolition story, explains why court order has not been obeyed. Jamefe Commission overrules president and cabinet. Okay, we'll go to the next paper. That's the Statesman, the New Statesman newspaper. Minority leader calls for effective approach to tackle corruption. Spio Gabra says rebuff of made in Ghana goods undermining our development. Baumia, NPP borrowed 5 billion in 8 years, NDC 27 billion in 6 years. We've all just talked about that. VVIP cocaine gate. Who gave Angel VVIP access? Well, that's a question the New Statesman is asking. Well, since I have these two gentlemen here who form part of the leadership of Parliament, I want us to talk about Dr. Spio Gabra's campaign, the president's campaign to buy made in Ghana goods. I see both of you draped in smocks made in Ghana, and you look absolutely good in them. I must say I'm ashamed that I'm not in one, but that is not to say that I will sit on a Chinese chair. Why did you go for the Chinese chair?
I hope we are not talking about Chinese chairs.
Why did you go for it? You form part of the leadership of Parliament. Why did you go for it?
I thought that we have spoken about this again and again. But let me just this is what I'm going to say. Okay. If there's one company, because look, it wasn't that the leadership of Parliament just got up and decided to go for Chinese product. If there's any company, as you and I are speaking today, that manufactures swivel chairs in this country, they should come out. Because we gave the opportunity. The Parliamentary Service Board gave the opportunity. Initially, it was supposed to be only Ghanaians to tender. They all came and said that, one, we cannot do the wood within 14 weeks and get the timber fixed. We need a longer period than that. They cannot dry the wood within that 14 weeks. That is one. Two,
and the Chinese
none
can
of them,
dry the wood.
Yes.
The Chinese can dry the
wood. They
wood.
have it already. Listen, and none of them could get a swivel chair unless they import it.
Why do you have to sit on a swivel chair? Is it by fashion? What is it about the swivel chair that is so important to the chamber?
My sister, sometimes we sit in the chamber as long as it takes. And my colleague will say, you attest to the fact. If it is rigid, we all know, if the seat is rigid, we are going to have more health issues. Let's say it. What I expect our colleagues in the industry to do is that now that we are all talking about it, because they saw those who were invited are there, and they knew that we had wanted to give them the opportunity. This is an opportunity for them to begin taking the initiative, because this thing is not going to stay forever. It will never stay forever. There are other government offices. Let someone there and say that, okay, let me challenge the system. Let me start, even let's say it's even a bad one that will not last more than 2 years, so that we'll be able to start with it and then move on. But to insist that because we cannot have, we should go for benches and sit in the chamber.
No, nobody's asking you to go for benches.
No, if you cannot get the swivel chair in Ghana, like you and I are sitting, with the greatest respect, all your console, your TV gadgets, nobody manufactures them here. So because you want to buy made in Ghana, are you going to refuse telecasting? You still go for the equipment because you need them. But what we need to do is that we challenge ourselves again. That's what the Chinese did.
So the choice of the swivel chairs was made because you've got to be comfortable.
It's not about our comfort.
Your health as well.
It's about how the chamber was. And you know, members, we were having a swivel chair in there. We could not remove the swivel chair and bring, as we to say, benches and say that, oh, from now on, because we want to be Ghana products only, I mean, we are going to use benches. That will require 1 year for us not to sit, for them to be able to get the required wood and dry them, and all that, and all that, and all that. We gave the opportunity. That's why I really worried about those companies that initially were invited.
But you know the Woodworkers Association, members of the Woodworkers Association.
No, what I'm saying is that all those ones are people that they were saying that, oh, even if you ask us to do them in business, we have those big ones that could do all at a go, right? We invited them. I wish that they will also be speaking to tell the world that, look, we are given the opportunity. It's just that the timing and the duration given was impossible for us to be able to do this rather than to import. So we were given the opportunity. We thought that they could have given us. So we can be talking about, oh, why didn't we give them 1.5 years? Then I will ask you, how could we have done the budget? How could we have done other things? But the reality is that the target was initially to make sure that we get Ghanaians who are going to be able to do it. But if we are going to import, then we must as well import, because we don't put a margin and then the cost becomes so much.
Are you happy with the chair?
I will attempt not to answer that question first. When I finish speaking, then I could answer that question. You see, you do not argue with a voter, and I will not attempt to argue with a voter, because we represent people who are angry about what has happened. So I will not attempt to do anything that will say that we in Parliament are not sensitive to their feelings. If they are angry and they think that we should have bought made in Ghana chairs or made in Ghana goods, so be it. But we have already bought chairs from China. We have bought the benches from China. What do? That's what we should be doing. And that's why I look at people, particularly the executive, who are jumping on the neck of Parliament. And virtually running down Parliament. I look at them and I wonder.
Well, because they are disappointed, especially when the president has been waging a campaign.
The president has come to Parliament to show his shoe that he's made in Ghana. But you see, once you do not bring a law and you leave it to the taste and wishes of individuals, you don't expect anybody to.
But he appealed to your conscience.
No, but for law,
can I finish?
We have a law.
I said that no, we have a local content law in the oil industry.
But go and look at the
30%. I'm coming.
GIPC.
30%. And I'm saying that we need a law that binds all of us. That's why from the Flagstaff House to Castle to all the ministers who have just renovated their house, they all bought it from China.
Not necessarily China. Or say that they are imported.
Well, they are imported. Yes. That's the first thing.
Mostly from China.
Well, they are all imported. That's why I say you don't argue with the voter. But you see, I'm sure the voters are not happy because we represented them. And they expected that we should do that. Especially the fact that the original tables were manufactured in Ghana. And they have lasted since 1992 up to now.
No, they didn't start from 92. This one started from around 96.
Whatever time that they started, they believed that at least we could have done that. But you see, I am very candid in my mind that when the board awarded that project and the designs were done and the decision was taken that we should maintain the standard that used to be there, the tables and the swivel chairs and all that used to be there, it became very imperative and very difficult for people in Ghana to give us the sort of chairs that they had recommended. I'm not saying somebody cannot do it, but what I am being told, I was not at the board. He was not at the board. Yeah. So we don't know what actually happened. The consultant, I didn't know the consultant until this whole matter came up. Yeah. And he knows that he himself didn't know the consultant until this matter came up, or even because it was a board decision. But we are being told that the original intent was to invite indigenous Ghanaian companies.
It's not that the intent, they invited them.
And then they said that, oh, the time frame you have given us, we will get it, but we'll get it from outside. And they decided that, oh, but if you are going to get it from outside, then let's give it to the main contractor to do it. That's what we are being told. I was not there to take that decision, and I don't think that the board members will lie to us. So I'm taking it from that angle to say that, well, let's move on as a people, and let's say that.
So we should forgive you.
It's not about forgiving us. Well, let's move on as a people. Let's say that all of us, whether in our individual homes or government institutions, whether it be parliament or the judiciary, because if you remember, even the justice, that is the judiciary, I mean, virtually the same contractor did the justice system, and you know where he would have brought it from.
Okay.
So let's move on.
Let's go to the next.
It's not just
paper.
about Parliament. Almost all of us are guilty of it.
Of course.
So let's move on.
Yes. The Daily Guide. No IMF bailout. Page 3 has that paper. Jida bill in trouble. Victor Smith visits cocaine girl. I don't know who the cocaine girl is, but there's a picture of Nayeli there. I don't know. She has a name. I don't know what
I'm
cocaine
sure she's
girl.
Nayeli.
Or Ruby, or whatever name is
Angel.
coming. Angel, yeah, whichever. But she has a name, so I'm not sure about cocaine girl. That's the Daily Guide newspaper for today. The Daily Heritage newspaper says Jida on assassination. I'm sorry. DCE on assassination list. Jida trial. I signed documents without reading thoroughly. That's according to a witness. Mali Spain says let's maintain unity in NDC. All right, so that's Mali Spain speaking. It's shocking that he lost, considering the number of times he appeared in the paper. So sometimes it's not just about the noise, is it? All right. The Business and Financial Times newspaper will be our last one. CDK's returns to court. Common ECOWAS tariff set for 2015. Viability of Abuasi mine to be known in 4 months. On the back page, Ochiasekai Rural Bank posts 50% growth in profit. And so that's the Business and Financial Times for this morning. Remember, you're watching NewDay, which is coming to you live from Parliament House. So if you're hearing footsteps, a bit of noise here and there, the aircraft moving up there, well, it's all because we are outside the studios of TV3 today. This segment was brought to you by Lipton Tea, still the world's #1 tea brand. And I have to say a big thank you to our guest this morning, Honorable Dominic Nitiwul, Deputy Minority Leader of Parliament. Thank you so much.
But let's thank you. You guys have done well. You have come to Parliament.
Yes.
That's what the other civil stations should be doing. Everybody should come around.
Yeah.
This is a big day for Ghana. They should come around and let's read the Black Stars the best.
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. The Black Stars, your expectations of the game today.
I think that we should go by a 2-goal score line, 2-0. If they were to score 1, then we should score 3-1. If they were to score 2, we must score 4-2.
You're very ambitious.
Not just ambition. We must be there. We must be at Equatorial Guinea. I don't think that Ghana can afford to lose out.
Do we just have to be in Equatorial Guinea, or it's about time we won a trophy?
I think we should win. From 82 to now.
Yeah. Is it over 30 years?
Almost 32 years.
Yes.
We must win.
Yeah.
And this is the time for us. I think we have the ability to win. If you check the African teams from Nigeria to Cote d'Ivoire to South Africa to Senegal to Algeria, these are the teams that seem to be fairly strong. And Cameroon, I think we have enough players and we have a good coach now to be able to win this.
Okay. Honorable Muntaka.
Yeah. I mean, we wish Blaster well. We hope that they are going to make all of us proud. The most important thing is to grab the 3 points and the necessary score line to be able to let them
so you don't
qualify
have a prediction?
For
no.
I will not want to predict, but I hope and pray that they are able to come out with the 3 points and the necessary goal scores to be able to qualify them to Equatorial Guinea, because I can't imagine us not going for Equatorial Guinea. I think we've had more than enough challenges with the Blaster not to add this to fail to go to Equatorial Guinea. But let me also add my voice to my colleague, Honorable Nitiwul, about your presence in Parliament. We are grateful. We also thank you very much for coming. We hope that others will also emulate that.
We set the pace, so they should follow.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And we're taking a short break. When we come back, we have health, we have living it. We want to see the fashion in Parliament today, what the MPs will be wearing. You're already seeing the two of them clad in their fugu. Did you plan?
It was a surprise, so I told him to go back and change, because
well, I expected
I thought that he was closer.
Well, he came in first.
He was closer. He was closer to Parliament than me.
We live on the same side, but we didn't speak.
Yeah.
We just thought that this is
great minds think alike.
Well, this is a good day. Let's be in our traditional dresses.
Yeah. All right then, stay with us. We'll be back shortly.